Hi everyone. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where in the world you're watching this and at what time. So for those of you that have yet to meet, my name's Rachel. I'm the Global Community Manager for Supermums, and today I am joined by Clarissa. She works for Salesforce as a solution engineer, and today she's going to be telling you more about her journey into Salesforce, what her career has looked like over the last few years, and why she's so passionate about both Salesforce, but also recently she's decided to become an ambassador for Supermums. And I know that you have also been a Supermums volunteer, and as a mentor, you've supported, some of our alumni who've been on our courses. And I know that, all the alumni who've had you as that mentor have spoken so highly, and just how valuable that part of their journey is, really having someone who's experienced in the ecosystem to allow them to share their knowledge, their expertise, but really just to give them that additional support. So Clarissa, for those who are watching this that don't know anything, about your background, do you want to tell everyone just a bit about, what did you do before Salesforce, and how did you actually come across Salesforce and start your career in the ecosystem?
Yeah, sure thing. So lovely to meet all of you. I am Clarissa. I'm a lead solution engineer here with Salesforce, and I actually got into Salesforce in a little bit of a backwards way. So I was studying to become an IT developer. I was studying Java at the time, and then I believe they were the first African reseller. They reached out and they were like, "Oh, would you consider to come for a few interviews? And would you like to see what it's about?" And at the time, I had no idea what Salesforce was. I had to Google it. I had to really get an understanding of what it meant, and went for a few interviews and then got my job as a Salesforce developer. And I had extremely great managers and such a supporting environment as colleagues as well. And very quickly on realized that being a developer is actually not really suited for me, because I love being part of the customer journey. I'm a massive advocate for customer transformation and digital transformation. And so I then transitioned to become more of a consultant. And this is really what got me going into Salesforce, is really being part of that customer journey, getting people onto that digital transformation, changing the way they do things. And then I realized how super passionate I am about the ecosystem. Back in the day, we weren't as fortunate to have things like Trailhead, where you can go and learn and earn your badges. We had to sign up for different courses and things to get our certifications. And it was only after being in Salesforce for a few years that I actually got into Trailhead. And now absolutely love Trailhead, love the enablement, and love everything that the Salesforce ecosystem is about. And that's pretty much where my journey started. So started as a Java developer, and because it's so close to Apex, the journey into Salesforce seemed super quick and easy. And then from there, made my way over to being a consultant, and then ultimately as a Salesforce solution engineer at the moment.
Amazing. It's great. I think that there's so much opportunity to pivot within Salesforce, and it's based on, I guess, like what your desires are, but also what I would always describe as like your super skills. And it's great that you maybe entered the ecosystem going in one direction, but you were able to really pivot and decide, right, okay, here's where my strengths really lie. And I think it's great to hear, people who go on that journey, and there's so much room for them to kind of take different directions based on what their skills are and their passions as well. So always good to hear. So for those that don't know exactly what your role entails, Clarissa, could you share more about like what does your role look like day to day, and what do you love so much about that specifically?
Yeah, sure. I think very much like almost everything that you touched on is the fact that it is so flexible, the fact that no day ever is the same. So my role basically entails going into customers, looking at the way that they do their current processes, so understanding their full business process end to end, and then finding ways that we can use the Salesforce platform to really match up a solution that fits and tailors to their needs. Currently, I work within the sales productivity team, so I look at all things enablement, adoption, onboarding, and making sure that people get the most out of the platform by utilizing things like my Trailhead, in-app guidance, walkthroughs, and really just excelling the way that they use the platform to take it to the next level. So as a solution engineer, you'll come in, we work hand to hand with our co-partners, our account execs or account directors. We come in, we fully understand what the business process looks like for a customer, and then we try and match a Salesforce product to the best liking of the customer so that technically it supports what they need it to do. And then along the way, introduce efficiency gains, time savings, and then making sure that, people do get the most out of the Salesforce platform, because a lot of people nowadays use the Salesforce platform for a tenth of what it probably could do. And it really is our job to make sure that they get the most out of the system.
Amazing. And obviously I know from speaking before that you started your career, as you said, was it in South Africa initially and then New Zealand and now in London?
Correct. Yeah, so it's super flexible. And that's, I think, the thing I love the most is the fact that you can go basically anywhere. So I'm a South African, born and bred close to Johannesburg and Pretoria. And that's where I started my career. I then fluctuated between being a consultant and an in-house Salesforce business process engineer, back to being a consultant, and then made my way over to New Zealand as a consultant, where I worked for a New Zealand company for 3 or 4 years. And I was then approached by Salesforce to become a Salesforce SE for them in New Zealand. So I actually started my Salesforce Ohana career in New Zealand and then transferred from New Zealand to the UK right in the middle of the pandemic. So it is such a super flexible environment and a company that is very supportive of everything. And I think that's the thing I love the most about the ecosystem, is the fact that everyone is so supportive and you can really go wherever you need to. And I think that's the thing that appeals to me about Supermums as well, is the fact that it is a global thing and it helps people not just, within the UK, but it is anywhere you go and super flexible. So you can really do like pivot to a different angle or different role or a different approach at any point in time.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's a globally recognised qualification. So literally the world is your oyster in terms of where you can go. And I love hearing stories of people who've been through our courses that have relocated to different parts of the world, maybe because they want to live by the beach or their family were in Germany, so they were able to relocate there. And it's just amazing that like the qualification with Salesforce and working in that ecosystem gives you the ability to do that. So it's so good to hear that. So you've kind of touched on this, but would you say then your role supports you to have that work-life balance, and do you have that flexibility within Salesforce?
Yeah, definitely. It's such a supportive environment, and they definitely look after our health and well-being. So they always make sure that we have enough of a work-life balance. And at any point in time, if things get too much, we have the autonomy to also push back a little bit and to take time and step back from work. I think, especially in this changed climate after COVID, where there's a little bit of a blur between that work-life balance. I know, especially in lockdowns, people really forgot to take a step back and look after themselves, because we know we have less travel time, we have less water cooler chat, we don't really have any of those time breakups anymore. So it still is super important to take time away from your screen and make sure that you are looking after yourself. But within this ecosystem, it is very flexible, it's very supportive, and you can take time out and make sure that you are constantly looking after yourself. I myself have a little dog, so I'm constantly taking him on little walks around the park near me. I love being outside, I love seeing greenery. So for me, it's super important to get outside, recharge, take time off my screen, off my phone, off all tech devices, and just take that, making sure that I recharge myself.
Yeah, I love that. It's so important, isn't it? And it's, having that self-care space as well. And it's great that, Salesforce as an industry really support that. So in terms of being a mentor for super mums, could you tell people a bit about, what that roles look like? And then also obviously now as a brand ambassador, where you are going to help, spread the awareness of super mums and Salesforce.
Yeah, sure thing. So I think being a mentor is something that is so important to me, and I absolutely love being a mentor for super mums. I think for me, the big thing was growing up in South Africa. I never dreamed to live overseas. I just didn't see that happen for me, just because of where we are. Obviously, the climate, the currency, how difficult and expensive it is to go anywhere. So I never really had that idea that I would live anywhere outside of South Africa. And then when I got into Salesforce, it opened up my eyes that I could basically go anywhere. And then when I found you guys, I really realized that I can help make a difference in someone else's world, where I can encourage them and help share all of my knowledge so that they can also do whatever they need to. And I think for me, the thing that I have the biggest passion about is to make sure that people can realize their true full value and their full self. And it's not really a limitation saying, oh, I can't do XYZ, or I can't have a role in tech. And a lot of people don't always understand that if you have a role in tech, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a hard code developer, or you understand how to take, I don't know, a PC out and rebuild it. You don't need any of those skills. You can do so much more with Salesforce having Supermoms as that driver behind it, you know, showing so many other people that there is a career in IT and it's not just limited to a specific group or a specific skill set. Literally anyone can come from the street and take up any skills and really grow and expand their knowledge so that they can create a career for themselves. I think that's something that I'm super passionate about, is just really helping people, sharing my knowledge, things that I've learned over the last 10 or so years, and imparting that on someone else so that they can also be successful and also have an amazing career in something else. I think that's the thing that I found, you know, super, super cool. And then also to be an ambassador and to make sure that more people get to hear about this cool opportunity and to be a part of this, because I think it's such a great journey to be on, and you can truly transform the way you do work. You don't necessarily have to be put into a little box or to be confined to a specific way of thinking. There's so much that Salesforce can do for so many people, and it's just an amazing way to network, meet cool people, like-minded people, and really drive that message forwards that there is a different way of working, and there is, you know, there is an ultimate way to make sure that more people are successful in technology at the end of the day.
Yeah, I love that. You've got such an inspiring journey, and I think it's amazing for people to really see the diversity of people that come into Salesforce. And like you said, like I think a lot of people think with tech, you have to be a techie person or a tech wizard. And you know, of all the people that I've spoke to within Salesforce, so many people didn't come from technical backgrounds. And like you said, like it's looking at a whole person and what are their strengths, what are their, you know, what's their passions. And I love that Salesforce take an individual for who they are and look at, right, what are the transferable skills that you have as a mum, you know, in a previous career, and let's look at, you know, how you can use them within Salesforce. So if you're great with people, like there's a opportunity for you within Salesforce. You know, if you are into tech and coding, there's an opportunity. If you're into, you know, working within a team environment, or as you said, like providing transformations with customers, like there's so many different kind of routes and paths that you can take. So what would you say to someone, and again, you've probably covered this already, Clarissa, but what would you say to someone who's maybe considering Salesforce? They're maybe completely new to it, like so many people, you know, they've never heard of the industry before, and they'd like to learn more about the benefits of the career industry, but about the benefits of a career in the industry, but they've got no experience, then maybe there's a lot attached to that. What would you say to someone in that situation?
Yeah, sure thing.
Oh, sorry.
I think the first thing is don't be discouraged. Even if you don't have any experience, like that doesn't mean you're not going to get anywhere. The first place that I would go is get onto Trailhead, and then to back yourself into something like a Supermoms, or a place where you can start doing the admin course and then really get your hands on experience through whether it is a Supermoms course or something like that, because ultimately that's going to help drive your success forwards. And you don't necessarily need any experience previously in Salesforce to be successful. You truly can make your own career within this, and the more time you spend and invest in your own personal development and your own growth within this is really how you're going to drive your career forwards. And there is, as you know, Rach, you mentioned it a bit earlier, but you were saying that, you know, whether you have a lot of people skills, if you're really good at maybe taking business analysis or whatever the case may be, there are so many options and different paths that you can go down within the Salesforce eco industry. I think the scariest thing is just to get started, but as soon as you're getting started, you'll see that it's not that overwhelming. There's a lot of resources and help out there, and reach out to people within the ecosystem. There are meetups all around the UK, all around the world. So if you're not based in the UK, if you're based in Australia or New Zealand or wherever you are, make sure that you're getting involved in the Salesforce ecosystem. Make sure that you're getting involved with the people around you, network, try and figure it out what it is that you're really enjoying, and then take that as a little bit of a path of where it is you want to go, because that's a really good starting point. And then make sure that you get into things like an admin course, join places like Supermoms, really get involved in that ecosystem, and then you'll see things will just start to come your way. I'm such a massive advocate for Salesforce, so I absolutely love helping people on their career, and I just think it's such a cool place to see how people flourish as soon as they get involved in different courses, and as soon as they get their hands on experience. You just really see people take that next level, and it really is cool to see people on their journeys as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's amazing hearing your passion and just you can see that like you wholeheartedly love what you do. And I think that's one thing that's been so inspiring for me, to really see the transformation that people have went on, and they've really been able to carve out lives and also careers that give them more of the things that they want in their lives. So whether it's to work completely remotely from somewhere that they love, or have more work-life balance, to dedicate time to the people or the things that are most important to them. So I would just say to anyone that's watching this, please take the time to reach out to either Clarissa or myself. I'll drop a link to Supermum's website. There's a great section on the website called What is a Salesforce Career? And you can really get an idea of the different industries that Salesforce is in, but also the different roles that you could decide to opt into. And the first place to start in order to really get your foot in the door is our foundational course, which is the admin course. And again, if you want more information on that, you can book a call with one of our career coaches. But I would just say, like, reach out, have a conversation, get all of your questions answered. And don't let fear stop you, because I have saw so many of our Supermums alumni. I met so many people in Salesforce who had no background or necessarily experience before, and they've been able to launch incredible new careers within the ecosystem. And it's just amazing seeing how quickly people can grow. And I think that's a huge part of Salesforce, like the personal growth and development that people get to experience and go on, and really have that supportive network of people that are going to help support them professionally and personally as well. So thank you so much for your time today, Clarissa. Is there anything else that you would add just to wrap up?
No, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for having me. If there is any questions that come up, please feel free to reach out. Always happy to have a conversation. But yeah, thank you so much for having me join today.
Thank you so much, and thanks for sharing your story. Bye, everyone.
Bye.